there's something that I said earlier on that says the most beautiful things in life are the things that you can't really see. You know, I want to elaborate that on a little bit. You know, so I'm gonna elaborate that in a little bit. Basically, it's like saying we have eyes, right? So we see things, but what we don't realize is that we don't use our eyes as far as we could use them. You know, so sometimes, you know, the ones that have the most creativity are the ones who can't see at all. Like as you can see, there are people like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder and etc. These people can't see, and you realize that they have amazing talent. You know why? Because they've in tuned themselves to use their other senses besides their eyes, and they're not distracted by the deception out there in the real world to be able to really get more out of the world than we can with our eyes. So there's a lot of things that we're blinded from. Like most of the time, we're actually blinded from the truth because we only use our eyes so far as it can go. You know, for instance, men and women, when we see each other, the first thing we see is, oh wow, this person either looks attractive or they don't look attractive. And what happens is people stop right there. You know, they don't go further, and use their other senses to try and figure out what that person is really like. Because, if you look at a person, it doesn't just stop right there. It doesn't just stop like, oh, that person is attractive, or that person looks like this, he's black, he's white, he has long hair, short hair, he's Asian, white, black, Spanish. It doesn't stop there. It goes further than that. But as we get older, we seem to use our eyes, only we use our eyes to a limited capacity. We don't use any of our other senses to go further. We just use our eyes, and then it stops right there. What we should do is we actually should use more of our senses to try and figure out a human being. But that's what we don't usually do. You know what I'm saying? So, a guy will be walking in the street, we see a girl, we'll be like, damn, they look good, and it stops right there. So we figured, all right, this girl's gonna be my wife, or this girl's gonna be my girl, because wow, that girl looks like something that I want, and it stops there. They figure that because they look that way, just because the way they look is gonna fulfill most of the things that they want in life, But actually, it doesn't stop there. It goes further than that, and a lot of people stop using the extra senses that they got, the extra abilities to try and figure out what's going on in a human being. Same thing goes with females. They say, wow, that guy's handsome, that guy's tall, that guy has money. I could be able to make that person make me happy, And that usually works for a little bit, temporarily, and it only goes so far. Because we've only used our eyes and we haven't used everything else to try and see further into that person. And that's why there's a lot of failures in connections with people. And then when the failure happens, they blame that person, but the only person they should be blaming is themselves, because they didn't use their other senses to try and figure out the complete person. If you're able to use your eyes and your other senses in your brain to try and figure out a person, what happens is, if you're with that person, not just because of how he looks, but for other things involved that you can't see, that's when you realize that them two have a better connection with each other. Sometimes you figure out, you look around and you say, wow, those people are still together, those people are still doing this, they're doing that. And it's not because they're just lucky. Sometimes they just used more of their senses better than you did. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't really just say, oh, you know what, we look like a cute couple. You hear that a lot. You see people in magazines, you see people in person. Yeah, you look cute together. Yeah, that's great and everything, But if you guys couldn't really see each other, what else could you do for each other that's gonna make each other happy? What are you doing internally with each other, mentally, physically, emotionally, stuff that you can't see that's gonna make you guys be a power couple or connect better? Same thing goes with friends. similar girls hang out with similar girls and similar guys hang out with similar guys. You know, but it goes deeper than that. You know, some people like to hang out with girls some girls like to hang out with girls because they like to shop for the same thing, or they like to wear the same clothes, or they look the same. You know, but what you don't realize is that actually, in reality, those relationships don't last long. You know, because all they've done was use the physical aspect, things that you can see with your eyes, to try and dictate their whole relationship. You know, but it doesn't go like that. You know, it goes deeper than that. If you want something to last longer, you got to be able to you got to be able to get in tune with other aspects, as far, you know, besides visual things. You know, so I'm holding everybody accountable to whatever is not going in their life, unsuccessfully and successfully. You are responsible for that. You can't blame the next guy. You can't blame the next girl. You got to blame yourself. You are responsible for the things that go on in your life, except for the things that you cannot control. There's certain things that you can control, and then there's things that you can control. The things that you can control, which is most of the things, God gave you the will to be able to control most of the things besides death. You know, besides death, actually. You know, and maybe natural sicknesses and stuff like that that goes on. But there are preventable ways about that. You know, but death is something that you can't control. That's in God's hands. So what we need to do as human beings, we need to be held accountable for the things that we do in life. And we can't get sad too long, and you know, we get confused, we get sad, we like to blame it on the next person, do that kind of stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, the message I'm trying to say is that you need to tune into yourself and be held accountable to the things, the actions that you doing, the actions that whatever's going on in your life. You got to be held accountable. Look at yourself and figure out, you know, what's going on. You know, do you got your priorities straight? Are you only using the physical aspect of picking who your circle is, who you want, you know, who you want to, you know, the things that you want around in your life? You know, what are you inheriting? You know, if you don't have it all together, then of course your life is not going to be all together. But that takes practice. You know, that takes practice, reading books, being around people who, you know, have, you know, more knowledge about other aspects in life than you do. And you can also learn from, you know, people who don't have it together too. That's why you don't do what they doing. You learn from the good people, you learn from the bad people, you mold it all in, and you take it and you run with it, and you make that the best person that you can be. Because at the end of the day, we here for a reason, you know, all of us. But sometimes we don't know the reason. So if that's the case, just be here and get yourself, you know, mold yourself into the best person that you can be, mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, psychologically, financially, etc., etc. And guess what? You know, at the end of the day, the more you feel like you have in control, the much fluid and easier your life becomes, man. You know, it's that simple. Just wanted to give y'all a little insight, man. Underestimated. Rules of life. Peace.